All right, let's take a look at some of the potential price scenario for the coming week. First, taking a look at the S&P 500. As you can see, S&P 500 closed at a new all-time high last Friday, and it is right in the middle of the upper range of the expected move that was last week up here at that 67.95, 67.85 range. And for the coming week, the market is pricing in a upper range between 68.95 and 68.87. And the lower range is between 66.94.20 and 66.45. So we can see that at this all-time high, we got a gap down here, and this is the previous all-time high. So one of the potential scenario, if we come down to fill this gap, is come down and check this all-time high. And if unable to hold this previous all-time high, then we see the price possibly move back down into this lower range, somewhere around this 6,700 area. So that would be the downside scenario. And the upside scenario is continue to make all-time high and pushes up to this upper range near the 6,900 area. Now let's go and take a look at the ES, the E-mini S&P 500. You'll probably get a little bit better gauge of where some of the potential resistance and support using the volume profile. So for the ES, the E-mini S&P 500, the market is pricing in 69.25 and 69.22. And that's the upper range, and the lower range is 67.28.50 and 66.70. So those are the ranges for the coming week. And here are the scenario. Again, basically this right here is the previous all-time high. Looking for a gap fill down here, then we'll be pushing down into this low volume zone somewhere around the 67.50 and 67.25, and that would pushes the price try to test this lower range of the expected move. So expect to see a little bounce off of here at this low volume zone and pushes back up. If it come down to check the price, this low volume zone here. But if it's continue to push higher, then we see it going to break into a new all-time high and move into the 69.25 upper range area. And for the SPY, the market is pricing in the upper range between 687.70 and 686.90. And the lower range is between 667.30 and 662. So we're going to watch is for this gap fill, come down here in this low volume zone and dip into here. There's a little bit of high volume node here, somewhere around this 671 area. So we'll see would it get a bounce back up into this low volume zone, then pushes back down to this low volume area and basically test this lower range at the 667. Now for the upside, we're basically looking for maybe a back test of this low volume zone, then pushes up into this upper range of 687 area, 687, 688. And for the NQ, the market is pricing in 26,050 and 60 and 26,005.75. That's the upper range. And the lower range is 25,014.75 and 24,750 for the lower range. Now we got an all-time high here, and we also have a low volume zone down here, basically for this gap fill, the previous all-time high. So we could see is the price going to break through this low volume zone and into this low volume zone here, this volume den, and that would fill this gap, this Friday gap, and see if it's going to get a bounce and pushes back up into all-time high. Now, if it doesn't bounce when it comes down here, then we're basically looking for this 25,000 to get tested, and that would be putting the price into this low volumes. This lower range, and there's this high volume zone here between 25,000 and 24,800 area. So that would be the downside. So here's the upside scenario: is that we push into a new high and just come up, work its way up to this 26,000 area, the upper range. And finally, for the QQQ, we see that the market is pricing in 631 and 629.40 for the upper range, and the low range between 604.60 and 599. So we're going to be watching for, again, basically watching for gap fill on the way down. So basically looking at this 16 area here, okay, to see would it be able to just come down and get a rejection back up. And if it doesn't, then basically looking for this thing to come down, gap fill, and work itself down into the lower range between 604.60 and 599. And that will push us into this high volume zone here, right, between the 603, 602 area. So that would be the downside. And the upside is maybe we get a rejection from this low volume zone and pushes up, or just continue to move up into the upper range between 631 and 629.40. So those are the potential price scenario to keep an eye on in the coming week. And if you want a full detail of the market internals and also the other indexes, then go to my newsletter at Substack. I have the link in the description below, and you can read a post where I go to all the internal and also the market sentiment. Thank you for watching. If you like the content, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to this channel, click the subscribe icon to subscribe and help support this channel. Now, for more content from me, go visit my newsletter at smtraderCA.substack.com. You will find trade ideas, daily trade plans, weekly market review and analysis, trading tutorial and strategies, and much more in my newsletter, The Pulse of the Market. And the link is smtraderCA.substack.com.